I guess we're live.
Yes, so.
It's looking like it.
Yeah.
What is up? What is up? What is up? If you are rocking with us right now, make sure you jump into the chat. I am JD.
I am Katie.
And I thought Katie wasn't necessarily going to be on the show tonight, so I just got JD on here. You changed that, don't I?
Yeah, he's just trying to get rid of me.
In front of a live studio audience of our dogs right now. So you may hear them walking around.
Yeah, they're little clip-clopping hooves. Like the hooves of the deer outside our window. We live by woods, so we have many deer that frequent our yard. They're pretty cool neighbors. They use us for our acorns.
A lot of deer, not many deer. Like we don't have little tiny deer.
Many deer.
M-A-N-Y, not
I never said that, but I understand how that can be misconstrued on here. Yes. I mean, there are some baby deer.
So would a baby deer be considered a mini deer?
I don't think there's a such thing as a mini deer. Not just not breed deer for pets. I don't think there's a mini deer.
Gotcha.
Let me know if I'm incorrect.
All right, so all the random stuff out the way.
Yep.
I'm JD, and
I'm Katie,
and this is Watch Stuff with Us. Tonight we are going to be previewing episode 3 of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale. So first off, we're going to start with a brief recap of episode 1 and 2, and then we're going to jump into the promo for season 5, episode 3.
I'm excited.
So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a breakdown. We're going to go and discuss everything that happened in that new promo. So it should be pretty fun.
All right.
We will wait while everybody starts trickling in, since this is a live stream, and I love to use the word trickle.
It's better than tinkle. They're not tinkling
definitely,
in.
Definitely. We don't want that.
No.
We don't want anything tinkling.
Well, for those of you watching, thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself, say hi, and tell us what your favorite food is.
Favorite food. Name, where you're from, or where you're at, and favorite food.
Favorite food.
We're waiting. We'll just wait.
Some people listen and tell us their favorite food. Some people don't, and they should. Yeah. What's your favorite food?
Probably some type of pizza. I don't know which one. It kind of varies from time to time, but there are a lot of different types of pizzas that I like. If I had to choose, that would be my favorite food.
You're from Chicago, so do you like the deep dish style, or do you prefer like Quad City style?
Oh, definitely not Quad City style. That's gross. But
Quad City style is crumbly.
Yeah, not a fan.
And our Happy Joe's isn't doing too well right now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not a fan. I am more so a fan of Chicago style and Chicago style thin crust, which doesn't get enough credit. It is amazing.
I think I tried it once.
Yeah. Beggar's Pizza is Chicago style thin crust.
Oh, yeah. Delicious.
Yeah. Which you've had many times. But anyway, I didn't ask you what's your favorite food.
I love pizza, but my guilty pleasure is a really good steak. Rare. Like red, rare, juicy.
Juicy also means bloody. I'm not really a fan of bloody.
Juicy. I don't like it dry. I grew up having dry steak, just like well done steak, and it was like there wasn't much flavor, and so I switched. Some loaded mashed potatoes on the side, green beans with a little bacon mixed in.
I could go with that.
All the things. Yep, I love them. Hello, dog.
Okay, like I said, we are gonna wait a little bit longer and then get going. So yes, what did you think of episode 1? Please let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
And what did you think of episode 2? I know I was amazed by it. I won't say amazed.
They did a good job.
But I thought the second episode was better than the first. The ending of the second episode was really, really good and really set the tone for what I think this season is going to be. So
yes. I love it. I was excited. Some shows make you wait a while to see, what's next. And then they show you and you're like, you guys had all less time to produce this. But this is not one of those shows.
No.
They use their time wisely and it's powerful.
Yeah, I felt like they touched on a lot of the different things that and answered some questions that we wanted to know, like from the jump. What was going on with certain people, and they kind of touch base with everybody. So that was cool. Some shows don't do that. They let you get like 3-4 episodes in before you see a character that you really, really wanted to know what was happening with. So I'm glad that they didn't hold out on us.
Yeah.
My vintage jump off live.
Oh, rest in peace.
I was gonna say RIP jump off live.
If you ever want to see another cool channel, check out Jump Off Live.
Yeah, we jumped out.
Yeah, Jump Off Live. That was his former channel, and it was actually truly amazing. I loved it. Him and those guys talk about a lot of really cool stuff all the time. You can still go back and watch it.
Yeah, why not? Why not? If you want to go back and relive the past, sure, go for it. But this is the future. Watch stuff with us. This is the future. It's right now.
Look at that deer. Oh. A little baby deer out there. His mama's always like, get your butt back here.
Yep. Like any good mama would be.
He like playing in the road, and she's like, get over. I love it. Hello, we see you watching. Say something to us.
Yes. Jump in the chat, please.
Let us know what's up. How was your day?
It's a lot more fun when we have people talking and interacting with us.
That's true. Did you work today? Did you get groceries? Did you sleep?
I can think of a day this week where I went a full 24 without sleeping, which is awesome.
That's when we viewed A Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. Definitely.
But he had his energy drink on camera, so he was like sunshiny and alert.
Yep.
I had water, so I might have looked a little bit more like The Walking Dead, but
not quite Walking Dead style, but
like just got bit.
Yeah, you were.
It started a course. Yeah.
Slowly turning.
Yeah, I looked a little tired, but I mean, I was super happy and energized about the show, regardless. Hello. Ooh, more of you are joining us. Thank you. Hi. How's your night going? It's early evening, or depending on your time zone.
Right.
I don't know. Your morning? Do you have any pets? We have 2 dogs that keep walking in circles around us.
Move a little bit over that way so you can get in the frame.
This way?
That way.
No, yeah, but this way. You always send me off the frame. No. I am the face.
Oh, the face of the show. Okay. We're going to do a regular.
Works for me.
On this episode of Watch Stuff With Us, we will be live recapping episodes 1 and 2 of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale. So, we're going to just jump right back into it. Found an article on Entertainment Weekly, and we're going to kind of run through this article. If you like the stuff that we do, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, because it really helps out our channel and helps us get pushed out to all sorts of people who also might like this type of content. Our last episode did really well, and it's continuing to do really well. So we just ask you guys to continue to support us, and thank you for supporting us the way that you have already. All right, so might look a little different because we're doing this live. Hopefully you might be watching live. If not, you're catching the replay. And I'm going to go through this article, like I said, from Entertainment Weekly. And it knocks and sort of discusses a few key points from the last episode. We'll start with, it says, aptly dubbed Morning, the first episode of The Handmaid's Tale 5th season picks up in the early hours following June's brutal vengeance-fueled slaying of Fred Waterford. So
I love how they phrase that.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of like the main point of the show was dealing with the fallout of Fred's death, at least initially. Those first 2 episodes really sort of hammered that home, and that was the big thing. I mean, that's how they ended last season, so of course you would want to pick up with something new. But they decided to sort of recap and let you see the fallout of June and her crazed mob's actions. Let's see. Discusses one of the more funnier parts of the episode where June ended up having an $88 fine.
I love that. She left the prison. She's like, I had to pay a fine.
Yeah, $88. And I mean,
he didn't even ask what it was for either. She told him later.
I guess that's getting off lightly. If
yeah.
You end up with an $88.
Yeah, they're like, you're not going to jail, but here's your ticket. You have to pay a fine because you're not allowed to send severed body parts in the mail.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Man, Canada, you're real sweet there.
Yeah. I mean, it was understandable. It was understandable because the crime didn't take place on Canadian soil, technically. It was in a sort of disputed gray area, literally. So I hope that, I wonder if that had happened in Gilead, what would be the consequence then?
She'd be on the wall.
Yeah. Probably.
Or in the colonies, or a handmaid, or something that's just pure torture.
At this point, I don't think that they would send June to the colonies. I don't think that they would do anything that would allow her to still be alive. I kind of wonder if they would even try like torturing her or anything. I don't think they would. I think they would just want to kill her on sight, pretty much.
They'd all stone her to death.
Yeah.
Everybody would take turns.
Especially with the amount of destruction she has caused Gilead. It's understandable from the Gilead perspective that they would want to make June pay for the things that she's done against their country.
Just a few things she's done. It's a pretty short list.
Just a few. Scrolling down, we're looking at more of this recap.
Ooh, hi, Nick.
Yep, coming up on Nick right here. It was interesting seeing Nick and Commander Lawrence in their interactions with each other.
I was cracking up. I love them together. They're hilarious. And he's like, Nick's always like just stone-faced. Commander Lawrence is always like smirking about something, and always, they're just amazing.
Yeah, I
That was amazing.
thought the show in several portions was unintentionally funny. And speaking of unintentionally funny, our
Sorry.
dog's just wrecking shop in here. This is what happens when you try to do a show with your dogs loose and they've been in their kennel for a few hours. But
Heaven help them. They rest in a kennel for a couple hours. Now they're gonna
Yeah.
throw a fit.
yeah,
Step stool. That's
But-
why we can't have nice things.
Right.
So if we go off air, blame the dogs.
speaking of nice things,
Thank you.
Commander Waterford had a pretty nice funeral, it seemed.
Yeah, Serena pulled those strings.
Yeah, and I think that Commander Lawrence and Nick felt a little bit guilty, or at least did not want
They didn't want
the
to get
rest of
trouble.
the commanders to find out that they had something to do with June getting her hands on.
Yeah,
on
I
Fred.
don't think there's any guilt about it. I just think that they just were trying to cover their butts.
Okay.
My
It's interesting though that throughout all of that, it seemed as though Serena also knew that they had something to do with it.
Oh yeah, she kept calling them out on it.
Right. And it's kind of interesting to see her sort of align with them because they were trying to help her in that situation, when on the inside she still has to be very angry at them because they are the ones who helped to get her husband killed.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting dynamic that they shared.
I liked when she was addressing everybody when they were inside that small church and everybody there had played a part.
Everyone.
Everybody around her had played a part in his death.
Everyone. So we can circle back around to everything that happened. Well, we can sort of go in order with the way the show went. So they're talking a little bit on this article now about Janine, and we can talk about Janine.
Sweet
and
Janine.
Mrs. Keys. I can always forget her name. What's her first name? Esther. We always forget, or I always forget
I
Esther's
don't really
name.
care about her enough to remember her name.
Well, I think you should now because she pretty much tried to take out Janine.
I'm just saying, like, I don't like her character.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan.
She's trouble. She's no good.
She's definitely trouble. She's definitely no good.
She's a spoiled brat.
Well, what it seems to me is that she was inspired by what June sort of taught her and allowed her to do and empowered her. Because in the last season, she had been raped several times. And June, instead of just saying that, okay, well, this person did this, we're going to hold them accountable, she allowed Esther to kill this man. And I feel like that sort of unlocked something in Esther. And now she's out for blood.
Now she's on the dark side and she
Right.
she likes it too much.
And Janine is sort of going with the flow and has been through so much that she understands that, hey, you can't really rock the boat too much or else you'll die.
Or lose an eye.
Or lose an eye. And because of that, she's a lot more timid and accepting of the different things that happen while they are with Aunt Lydia or when they're in their training, so to speak.
Right.
So that sort of led to a scene where Aunt Lydia brought Janine and the rest of the handmaids to meet with a new commander. And the new commander ended up choosing Janine. Well, I'm sorry, ended up choosing Esther.
Yes. Esther wasn't too fond of that.
No. New commander then goes and gives her chocolate.
Seductively.
Very, almost, but not even seductively. More like childlike. Like he was moving it around like, oh, here's
He
the airplane.
airplaned it
Here's the
first.
airplane. Go ahead and eat it. And like,
But
yeah.
it was disturbing because he was getting his kicks from it. So.
Oh, he was getting more than kicks from it. It was definitely creepy.
You just kept saying you wanted to bite him.
Yes, I was
She didn't,
totally
though.
sure that she was going to bite him, but she didn't.
She didn't.
She didn't.
Instead, she took it out on Janine later.
Yeah, she did. And the reasoning I think behind that is that she felt that Janine had sort of lost her way and she wasn't the revolutionary. She wasn't down with trying to go against the powers that be in Gilead.
She wasn't saving Esther.
Right. So you can
But
sort
in
of see.
Janine's way, she was trying to
She
save her
was.
by saying,
She
if you
was.
get pregnant, that is the best way. Like for 9 months, they treat you like royalty, almost like a princess, as she said.
Mhm. And even then, once you have proven that you are fertile and you can have a child, you still get treated preferentially because they want you to have another kid and another
Right.
kid and another kid.
Right.
So
they need you to be healthy, so your baby, their baby.
So, like you said, Janine was definitely trying to take care of her in her own sort of special way.
Yeah, Esther just.
So that
She's
led,
on a roll.
right, that led to a scene where they were both together, alone, and Esther had brought some candy that she had gotten from the commander, and
I still
gave
wonder
it
what
as
she
a-
put in it, though.
Well, I mean, we all, like I said, we know that Esther is very good at
Herbology.
yes,
Herbology.
she's very good at figuring out. Well, it's probably the same one. I don't know where she got it from, but I wouldn't imagine that she has like 7 different concoctions that'll kill people. But she knows one,
It's upper sleeve.
and she was able to taint the chocolate with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's tasteless because Janine didn't look like she really knew that it had anything on it. She didn't react weirdly or anything like that.
Although Janine took way longer to have any reaction to it whatsoever, which is so weird. Because when Esther bit it, it was like first bite, she's like blah blah.
Right.
But when Janine had finished hers and then was like, "What's wrong, Esther? Are you okay?" And then it hit her.
Then it was blah blah.
So I don't know if it's because they probably both weigh about the same too. So I don't really know why it took longer in one than the other. But
I'm not
different
sure.
different strengths.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But needless to say, they both ended up on the ground spitting up blood.
Help me!
I don't think that they are dead. I don't think that one of them is dead. I think that they're both going to be very sick.
Yeah. Aunt Lydia was so sad though.
Yeah, she was.
She was like,
hurt.
Janine, my Janine.
She was. And I mean, I still feel weird about that. Like
Strangest relationship.
She's horrible to her, but
I treat
also
you like crap.
loves her.
I take your eye. Now you're great, and I love you. I escape and I'm mad. You come back. I love you again. It's the only person she treats this way. She doesn't treat anybody else that way.
I wonder what that is. I wonder if they'll ever address that anymore in the show. I would assume that they would have to.
Maybe.
Possibly. So my prediction on that is that they're both alive still.
Yeah, I feel that they are too.
If Janine was going to be dead, they would have showed her die. They would have made it definitive, and you would have known that she was dead.
Or if anybody's gonna die, it's not Janine. Janine will come out alive.
Sure.
We'll see.
Next up, let's see what they have on here next. Next up, we will go with the end of the episode and talk about the actual funeral, which was broadcast all over the world, apparently.
Yes.
Which is a very smart move, I believe. It was broadcast all over the world. If you want to garner favor, you show a moment like that where you have people showing their emotions and the sadness of actually losing a person. Gilead isn't a group of robots.
Right.
Gilead is an actual group of people who mourn, who feel emotions. And
introduce their country to the rest of the world.
True. That was a very interesting way of dealing with their sort of publicity issue that they have, their perception issue that they have. And it was a brilliant move by Commander Lawrence. I truly believe that was like 95% his idea.
Yeah.
And he always has ideas like that. So big up to him. But they sort of juxtaposed this, and the second time in 2 weeks, I'll use the word juxtaposed. They juxtaposed. They juxtaposed the funeral with June and Luke going out on a date. Mm-hmm. So you have one sad occasion, And on the other side, you have one joyous occasion.
Yeah.
By the end of that date, it seemed as though June and Luke were having a great moment. And that's something that you haven't really seen them have in a long time.
No, not since.
No, not.
Well, maybe really ever.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Handmaid started out initially with the car scene, so they
Right.
didn't really ever have the happiness.
Or at least, yeah, we haven't seen it. There were a few flashbacks that showed them
Right,
having good
right,
times.
but not a present time.
Yeah.
Good time. She hadn't been
Definitely.
around for a while either, so.
And if you're watching right now, what's up? I'm JD.
I'm Katie. Hi.
And this is Watch Stuff With Us. We're
Hi.
breaking down episode 1 and 2 from season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
If you have questions or you got statements that you like to make, if you want to talk about the show,
You want to share your favorite food?
drop it in the chat.
I'm
right
always
now.
trying to get people to talk about food. I love
Awesome.
food. I'm a foodie. I'm sorry.
You are.
Ah.
So, back to the funeral / ballerina date.
Yes.
Ballet date. They ended that. They were sharing an emotional, loving kiss in the middle of some large sort of rotunda in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And June,
Almost looked like Times Square.
it did. June noticed first that the funeral was on a television screen.
Right.
And that immediately started her anger to build. And you can see it, you can just see it start boiling in
Her
her.
nostrils just slowly starting to flare.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I love that I predicted it.
you did. You truly did.
I always predict the shows.
You truly did. You did a good job. I give you a little bit of credit on that one.
Thank you.
So while they're doing that, they're also showing Serena going through the funeral, their procession through the streets. They come to the end, and someone is bringing flowers to
Right.
Serena.
Which anybody who's been following Handmaids knows who it's going to be.
Yep. And we knew
If
you go back and watch our full reaction episode, we knew what was coming.
You knew instantly. When they're panning around and showing all the different groups of people in Gilead and they just go to the children, even for a split second, you just know they're going to be involved. And specifically, June and Luke's daughter is going to be involved.
Yep. So none other than Hannah shows up, and she's the one that brings something. I don't know if it was flowers or not, but she brought something to Serena. And then she stood next to her.
Mm-hmm.
They got an amazing shot of her staring into the camera, but then also June looking angry. She was still angry, but this was the first moment that I saw that anger in Luke.
Right, they panned to him.
Yes, they showed him, and
his whole face changed.
Yes, he was shocked. He was fuming.
I hadn't seen him that angry before.
No. And as we said on our other recap, that's definitely going to be the reason why they decided to go to Gilead together and to get Hannah back.
Right.
That was I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yes.
Then they do this awesome final shot of June looking angry and more angry than I've pretty much ever seen her look. And Serena with the nastiest smirk smile at a funeral, nonetheless.
Her own husband's.
At her husband's funeral, she has a smirk smile on her face because she knows at that moment or at some moment in the future, June is going to be watching that.
Right.
And she knows that she sort of one-upped her right there. Or at least paid her back.
She wasn't even thinking of her husband in that moment. I don't think
No.
she was just all out for revenge.
That was revenge. That was, you killed Fred, now I got your daughter.
Yeah.
What do you think Serena does next? Like, what happens with Serena?
Well, I mean,
now?
they already showed the preview for the season, so she goes guns blazing with Luke, and they go back into Gilead.
No, I said Serena.
Oh,
what
sorry.
does Serena do?
Oh, Serena.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like she's gonna lay low then and see what June's gonna play.
Yeah, I mean, we both discussed how we feel that Serena is going
See, I did it too.
Serena's going to be moving up the ranks in Gilead. I want to see what her next move is. I think her next move is going to be some sort of political play and some sort of way of getting more power.
But how much power does she have to be able to enforce anything?
She might not have a lot of power, like actual power, but she's going to realize that, sort of like you have a Q rating and your popularity rating, and somebody's going to get her those numbers, and probably Commander Lawrence, and he's going to say like, hey, maybe we're on to something here. Maybe she needs to be front and center more. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
I'm
you've been
almost
saying
certain
from
it's
the
gonna
beginning
happen.
that she's going to be the one that's
Yep.
in charge, or
Yep.
has the face of Gilead now.
Right. And whether she's actually in charge or not, it doesn't really matter if the world thinks that you are.
Because they already know that there's so many in the world that are big fans of Serena's. This, when she was walking out after she found out her husband died, and everybody had their little candles.
Yeah, which was odd too. I mean, but I get it.
Mm-hmm. Blessed be the fruit.
Yes. So that was it. That's pretty much our recap of episode 1 and 2. While we're doing this live stream, we also thank Entertainment Weekly for providing this article that sort of sparked our discussion. And if you like this content, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and continue to support what we do. Much love. So, thank you very much for continuing to watch this recap / preview. We're going to get into the preview portion of our show now.
Yes.
Where we're going to break down this trailer, and it's sort of an extended promo. It's sort of an extended promo for episode 3. And I haven't watched it yet. Katie hasn't watched it yet.
No.
So we're going to watch it live and react together. So I'm going to get it, pull it up.
Get it.
All right. All right, we're going to run an intro just like we normally would and get into this recap. Gotta do something really good because this one should be successful, very successful. Move over so you're all the way in the frame. There you go. There you go. All right. On this episode of Watch Stuff. Oh,
the stuffs.
We're going to get going with this shortly. All right. So, like I said, if you are watching us right now, thank you for tuning in. I'm JD.
I'm Katie.
And this is Watch Stuff with Us. We are going to be now previewing the third episode of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale.
Excited.
So, without further ado, we're going to do this. On this episode of Watch Stuff with Us, we are previewing episode 3 of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this episode of Watch Stuff with Us. I almost said for watching this episode of The Handmaid's Tale. We are on The Handmaid's Tale.
I would love to be on The Handmaid's Tale, but
True,
I haven't gotten a call.
Yeah, this is Watch Stuff with Us. If you're watching this show right now, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified every time we do any episode or when we go live like we are right now. So without further ado, here is the season 5 episode 3 promo trailer, and we're going to break it down live.
He was a monster. Rena returned. Nick and Commander Lawrence are both sort of impressed by it, and then also slightly neurotic about how much she knows.
So what are you laughing about? You need to explain.
Well, I mean, I've always known that he has, in real life, has an accent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny to me. Like, I'm attracted to the Nick character. I'm not as attracted to the actor himself. And I know that sounds
Which is
weird.
crazy. That's crazy.
It is. It's weird. But usually I'm big into accents, but for him, when he starts with his accent and he's like smiling and his little eyebrows are dancing, I'm like, who is this guy?
All right, you're too happy. You're not Nick anymore.
I know. I'm like, it's not that
Brooding.
I was about to say that. Yeah, the brooding, dark. That's what is it like attractive. It's not the bad boy look because he's not, but it's just like that dark and serious personality is kind of like what I'm attracted to in the show.
His intensity.
Correct. His intensity in the show, that character is what I'm attracted to. But then real life him, she's like, oh, and I'm just like, I can't.
Oh my God, you have teeth?
Like, yes. You know how to smile. Like, you're still adorable, but I can't take him as seriously when he's actually speaking in his natural voice.
All right, let's continue on.
Do you imagine what the other commanders would do if they knew that you had helped a handmaid kill her commander?
Bold accusation. Serena is truly on her own. She's frightened by her future and her uncertain status.
She's just constantly working towards figuring out how she's going to survive in a new world
I
and come out on top.
didn't know she had an accent either. I really should watch more videos of them like discussing their show, but I haven't. But that's so cool. Are they like all just British? Or what is the actor that plays Nick? I don't even think he's British.
I'm not sure.
But
sure.
I need to do my research more.
Yeah.
I'm more invested in the show than the actual actor, so I need to look into that a little bit more.
And then a lot of the talk about how Serena was unsure about her position and stuff. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but she didn't look very unsure. I felt like she was relatively confident still, or maybe that was just an act. Maybe it was just not.
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's keep going now.
Is an opportunity where Gilead will allow the world a peek behind the curtain.
I think we need to make Fred's funeral an international event, broadcast across the globe.
She convinces Lawrence that it will raise the stature and the legitimacy of Gilead. I got deep.
Any comments on
I've
Commander
always
Lawrence in real life?
No, I've known Bradley as an actor and other things that he's done. I've always been a big fan of his work. So I was very excited when they brought him into the show. I was like, oh, good. Plus, it's like, somebody you recognize because Well, I mean, there's not many in the show that I did know, and I think it's because most of them seem to be British or from other countries, and so that's why. Yeah, it's surprising. So, bonus points for those actors for also, working on your accents.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard work. Not only are you doing
Yeah,
all
I
this,
would
but now
think
you're
that's
also
like-
having to change your. I mean, a lot of actors do, but
A lot of them do. So maybe it's not that hard, but in my mind, that seems like crazy difficult.
I can't impersonate anything other than
It would to me. It wouldn't be.
I can speak Fergie.
To me, it wouldn't
That's
be-
about it.
I was gonna ask you to do that, but no.
Nobody really wants to hear that.
I think it would be more difficult to keep the accent up, like repeatedly, as opposed to learning it and being able to do it. Like I might be able to learn it and be able to do it for a day or two. But after a certain point in time, I've been doing it so much that I would probably accidentally slip back into my normal accent.
And when you go back and forth between takes,
Right.
are you going to keep up the accent, or are you going to
True.
slip back in and just be like,
True.
"Oh yes, let's practice that room again," and then be
Right.
like, "All right, now, Commander Lawrence, hold it all, a spot of tea." So I don't
Spot of tea.
know. Of course, traditional British imitations.
Let's keep it going.
To say yes. How? By not being a woman.
Janine looks at Esther and sees a version of herself. And being a mother feels
So
that
cute.
maternal energy toward Esther to keep her safe here.
Esther is expecting Janine to carry forward June's legacy of resistance.
I have to do something. Anyone who does something ends up dead. Or worse. The smart thing to do is just follow the rules and stay alive.
So I think I know the answer to this already, but are you more of a Janine or are you more of an Esther?
Is anybody an Esther?
Yes, June specifically. I mean I don't think that it's a major. I don't think it's a major stretch for her character to do some of the things that she does. June sort of corrupted her and brought out that stuff that was already inside of her. And just like my dog is using a squeaky toy right now, but June is sort of her inspiration. So
Like
when
I'm a
she
June
has,
fan, but I'm not a fan of a small child just having angst. And I mean, granted, yeah, she is mad, but come on, she's throwing a little fit. She used to be a missus. Like she's having
And
a
it's-
fit that she's downgraded and now has to put up with what everybody else had to put up
it's
with.
one thing to be downgraded and not like your position, but it's another thing to kill somebody who obviously might have a disagreement in philosophies with you,
Yeah.
but you want to kill her because of that. Like that's over the deep end. That's even
Right.
worse than June. And we all know how I'm not a June fan. So,
Yeah.
but June does play a big role in why Esther is the way she is.
She does, but to
So
answer your question, I'm 100% Janine.
Yeah, me too.
I love
Definitely,
Janine.
definitely.
She's got a sweet soul.
She's the only like purely kind person I think we have.
I
on
do
this
miss
show
her
right
from the
now.
beginning though, like season 1 before she lost her eye.
She was like ultra feisty. And
She was like the feistiest of all of them, and yeah, I do miss that. But
and
she's
then
a
Aunt
sweet
Lydia
soul.
did her thing. So sad. All right, let's keep going.
When Esther sees Janine being more complacent and more accepting of her role as a handmaid in this system, she sees that as a betrayal.
She does what to Lydia is unthinkable, poisoning herself. And then Janine. What did you do?
Okay. Just because we saw Aunt Lydia right there, I don't care what Aunt Lydia is in from here on out. I don't care what Ann Dowd is in from here on out. She will always be Aunt Lydia. And probably if she came over to our house for a like meet and greet or hangout and just decided to be here, I would probably still be very angry at her. I would
I'd feel
look at her
really
from across the
uncomfortable.
room like, F you.
I feel really uncomfortable, and I think that's a sign of a really good actor, though,
Mhm.
is to instill that those emotions in you for when you're gonna meet them, if you do meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that would be cool if this show gets big enough that we end up being able to meet some of the people who
Right.
are
Or at
actors
least
and
if they can go to
actresses on the
Comic-Con,
show.
like.
Or we
I
can
mean-
have them on the show.
Oh, yeah.
I know YouTubers who get a lot of celebrities on their shows, so you guys need to support us so that we can get to that level.
Yes.
And we can bring you the interviews that you really want. Really want. All right, let's jump back into it.
She knew something could go wrong.
She's so cute, though.
She just didn't know it could be that.
June and Luke go to the ballet to see something that was beyond her current experience.
She allows herself a moment to breathe and be free before her world comes crashing in on her.
I think that's a recurring theme with June, is that when she has those opportunities to be free,
Something always
reality
hits the
comes
fan.
and just smacks her in the face.
No, you're trying to have a normal life.
Right.
Sorry.
You think things are good? No, they aren't good.
You think this is just a game of Scrabble? Psych.
Since I see right now we have more people watching.
Hi.
Hello, I'm JD.
I'm Katie. Welcome.
This is Watch Stuff with Us. Right now we are watching the promo for episode 3 of season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Jump in the chat. If you have questions, if you have comments, please make them. We would love to discuss them on our live stream right now.
Yes.
Yeah, have fun, sit back, relax, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and we will get you on.
Creating the overall aesthetic for the funeral was so challenging. It was really important to create very strong visual difference and naturally make Serena the devil and June the angel, so the light and the dark.
The
We
funeral
saw that.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
Everybody, you can't miss that.
definitely, yeah, you definitely noticed that. But I wish they would have given, oh, that is interesting, because I was going to say I wish they had given someone gray, but I think Luke was dressed in gray. So maybe that's foreshadowing that he's going to,
Or foreshadowing,
yes, that he's going to sort of develop more of a darker side. I don't know, maybe.
Could be. Or he just looks good in gray.
True. Also, I would like to see if by the end of the season, if we have an episode or a moment where Serena is in the white and June is sort of in the black.
That would be neat toward the end if they switched.
Yeah.
Is all about Serena. She choreographs it so that it makes her look powerful.
She has Hannah enter the frame with her, and it's a way of her saying to June, I have control over your daughter. She just gave this little smile. It was villainous. It's when Serena declares this is war. We start the episode with
So, definitely declared war
Yes.
at that point in time. Even if she hadn't declared it before, I think it was definitely known that, hey, you've messed up, June. You've gone too far. Even though Serena is a horrible person, she feels wholly and totally justified in everything that she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's been scorned to the point where her husband is gone, and she is willing to do whatever in order to inflict pain on June.
Pretty much.
I get it. I don't agree with it. Well, I mean, I get it, and I get it, and I agree with it. If that was just the isolated incident, and none of the other stuff, and none of the other trauma had happened to June, but if we were doing a scorecard, it'd be like Serena 150, June like 4.
Right. Because everything June's doing is justified.
Everything she's doing is justified
yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's justified. I don't like.
It is justified. You're
I don't
stuck
like
in
what
Gilead. Do whatever you need to do.
Right. I don't like what she's doing necessarily all the time, or her
Mhm.
motivations, but I mean, I get it.
But
I
Serena's the
understand.
one that came up with this nasty idea anyway
True.
for Gilead. So
True.
June sitting on the edge of the bathtub covered in Fred's blood.
I love Elizabeth
She
Moss.
is in this euphoric state.
Initially, what Lizzie and I were trying to do was the idea that June is dirty. She's been made dirty by her sins, by killing somebody, and she doesn't really want to get clean.
revenge. These are all things that June has to struggle with. What is that? Hey, what is that? Hey. What happened?
Do you think that that's necessarily June struggling with those things? Because I don't. I think it's more of June embracing those things. Like it's like the darker alter ego that everyone has inside of them. She's just allowing that portion of her to come through.
I mean, it's all trauma based, but I feel like there's levels to it. It's almost like when you go through trauma recovery, there's stages, and so that's why you can see her taking joy in it, and then being mad, and then being fearful, and then
Regret,
and
guilty.
Mm-hmm. And and vengeful again. So there's she goes through a lot with this
And
Gilead stuff.
Right, and you sort of connect that to her feelings towards the end of the episode. She had went through those stages and was at the point where she was sort of recovering.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was
the tables
brought right back into that
Yep.
initial state of anger with the funeral scene and all of that stuff with Hannah. So
It's like she can't ever have peace.
she can't ever fully get through that piece.
She can't breathe.
Yeah.
She can't ever breathe.
Good point.
I killed him. June, killing Fred has just gone so many steps beyond what Moira now understands life to be. She's like, I don't know who you are, what you are, but you are a hurricane right now, June, and I cannot have you in my place of safety. You scare me.
That was a startling scene when she was sort of like loving on baby Nicole and getting blood over Fred's blood all over her.
And Nicole's
like,
Mom.
Mom, I love you, but you
You need
are
a bath,
creeping me
Mom.
out. Yes, you smell like blood.
Ooh, who's
Yeah.
on me?
Weird.
When Luke finds out that June has killed Fred, it's very destabilizing because he's holding on to the hope that this relationship could be salvaged, that June herself can be salvaged and live a normal, fruitful life. So that's
Another actor with an accent.
An interesting accent. Yeah, we're gonna have to have like
We have to
an
look into
accent
them because
show.
they're not all from the same place.
Definitely not.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But are they like?
I don't know for sure, but he strikes me as having a sort of like a New Zealand type accent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a guess.
We'll let you know next time.
Pure guess, pure speculation.
Yeah, we'll do our homework.
We'll ask Jeeves.
Is he still around?
Probably.
Hmm.
It's important to June for Serena to know that it was she who killed Fred.
And she also wants to remind Serena that June is still out there.
I just think it's the ultimate vulnerability for Serena to know that this woman who has murdered her husband orchestrated it and has done the murder with her bare hands.
Will you take a good hard look at exactly what she is capable of? There's also this.
That scene, that the actress, like that was really good because you realize in that moment that she hadn't seen Fred yet.
Right.
And she's going through these lines and she's saying stuff, but her voice sort of like breaks as she realizes, like, oh my God, like he didn't just get killed, he's been like mutilated.
Right. She's
And
talking, and then she flips it, and then she's
yeah, like that was awesome. I love watching the actors and the actresses in this show because they put on some really strong performances. And sometimes you get used to watching sort of hollow shows that are, don't have the sort of impact that something like this has.
right.
And
This
then
is
you-
a truly emotional show.
true, and you watch something like this, and it's like, man, she was really bringing it in that scene.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, what is as an actress or an actor, like, what do you have to channel to get something like that?
Right.
Ugh, that's rough, but great job, really great job.
strange gesture of solidarity with Serena. Like, look, Fred abused you too. That is something that they have in common.
It's a little nod to Serena that the guy that tortured us both, that tormented us both, is gone, and I did it. So watch your back. The same thing can happen to you.
All right, so that is it for our recap of episodes 1 and 2, the trailer, the promo video for episode 3. We didn't get a lot of preview on that, a lot of
Detail on what's
yeah,
to come. But
right. We got a lot of breakdown on how things went. So to summarize really quickly, what do you predict is going to happen? Let's try to come up with 3 predictions for episode 3 specifically. Just that episode. Let's see if we can come up with 3 predictions. I'll kick us off.
Okay.
My first prediction for episode 3, and we've already kind of spoiled it a little bit. I guess this will be like a bonus one.
Okay.
Janine and Esther are dead. That's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2, which I haven't discussed yet, is that during this episode, June and Luke will get caught. I think that's how this episode is going to end. With them, this episode is going to be them pretty much going into Gilead, trying to get their plan together, and actually getting caught in Gilead. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Do you have a prediction?
Do you think they're going solo? Just the 2 of them?
I think it's
or
just
do
the
you
2 of
think
them.
they're going to try to recruit the people that she had went out to brunch with?
Oh man, I
Or
wouldn't
did
kick
she
it with
burn
her.
her bridges with them
Those,
already?
I think those bridges are burned. I mean, if they did her dirty work, and then she wasn't willing to help them do their stuff. So like, I'd be done. There's no way that I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go back to Gilead now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going to happen in this episode. That's my second prediction. Do you have one? Because I do have a third.
I don't think they're going to go back to Gilead in this next episode. I think they're going to start forming their ideas and plans as to what they want to do or who they want to go with. I think Moira's going to join them.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to kind of see how invested Luke is in it and want to join. Not because of June. She's kind of like junior year crazy. But seeing Luke get worked up over everything, I think she's going to go in with them.
My final prediction for this episode is we are going to check in on Emily and her whereabouts.
Yes.
Since we have not seen her.
We don't know what
so
she's
far.
up to. And
Yeah, I think we're finally going to get to see where she's at and her process of getting back to Gilead. Has she made it back?
and what is she doing once she's there?
What is her goal? Yeah. So that's my final prediction. Do you have another one? Is that it?
I wonder if something's going to happen with Aunt Lydia. Like she's going to get in trouble again for not watching the girls or not noticing that she slipped something in the chocolate, or it's going to fall back on Aunt Lydia. Because usually when something happens with one of the handmaids, it's always blamed on Aunt Lydia. So I'm wondering if she'll get punished for something.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And I mean, I don't want to be bogus, but I mean,
Aunt Lydia.
Yeah, Aunt Lydia kind of can do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily gonna be too sad if Aunt Lydia doesn't make it.
No. She's like a cat. She's had 9 lives already.
She has, and she's been through several different handmaids who have failed her and who have failed Gilead. So
she's responsible for the death of many of them too. Mm-hmm. Like not even with her hand necessarily, but that whole train scene. Mm-hmm. That was on her too.
It sure was. So let us know what your predictions are for episode 3. This is your opportunity to drop those comments below and let us know what you think is going to happen. You've heard what we think. Now it's your turn. Be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time we have a show or when we go live, like we are recording this right now live. So you're watching a replay, but this was definitely recorded live. And if you were here, you could have been in on this episode. and in our chat, and this fruit flies in my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this right now. I'm JD.
I'm Katie.
Thanks for watching some stuff with us. Later.
Bye.
All right. So I think this has been a fun stream.
Yeah.
Most people are going to catch this after the fact. So, like I said, be sure to support us. We've been getting a lot of comments recently, which is super cool, and being able to interact with everybody who watches the show. We're averaging, and I mean, it might not sound like a lot, but between all our videos, we're averaging like 400 to 500 views a day, which is cool considering you start at 0 and you have no one watching anything. So we've built up some.
Yes, like family and friends, please.
Yes. Please, somebody watch something.
Anybody.
Right, but we built a little bit of a fan base right now. We just want that to continue to grow. We want to be a channel that not only gives you content, but also interacts with you. And we want you to be a part of the Watch Stuff With Us family. So without further ado, I guess we're going to end this video before the fruit fly decides to fly in my face or somewhere else. So we really, really, really appreciate you for rocking with us. And as always, much love. Join us again on Tuesday? No, it'll be Wednesday, early Wednesday morning for our recap of episode 3. We're going to be the first ones to post it online like we were last time. Well, I think we were second. We were second to post a recap online. So we plan to be first this time. So be ready. Peace.